Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Millennials Gone Circular. My name is Caitlyn Sockwell, and I'm your co-host along with Angelica Barrios for today. If you're new here, welcome. If you are a repeat offender, welcome back. As you probably would have guessed, we are all about circularity, which is directly linked with the Sustainable Development Goal 12, which is responsible production and consumption. Of course, we as consumers need to be responsible, but that's not the whole story, is it? Here to help us answer this question is the ever-fabulous Claudia Guerreiro of the conscious marketing movement. Marketing is often seen as a necessary evil, a driver of consumption, pressure, and manipulation. But Claudia, a social entrepreneur, sees it very differently. She believes marketing can be part of the solution and a key driver of systemic change. She founded the conscious marketing movement to redefine the field, putting people and planet first. Through community building and education and direct support for organizations applying conscious marketing in practice, her team championed a new marketing standard rooted in ethics, impact, and responsibility. So let's listen in. Millennials gone circular. We got the vibes spectacular. Make that change every day. Join the movement, come on,
Claudia and I met, for the first time in person just last month at the Voices for Climate Action podcast training in Austria. So we had a beautiful few days in the rolling hills of Austria, and it was a great group of other girls, other women in the EU or based in the EU that are also working on podcasts as well. And we just had a little info packed week, I guess. Anything to add? Did you want to talk about Voices for Climate Action a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. Before I talk about Voices for Climate Action, I also wanted to give a shout out to Maya from Freelancing for Good, because that's exactly how I met you, Caitlyn. So you're part of this amazing community, and Maya is a partner of Freelancing for Good. So I just wanted to give a big hug to Maya for introducing the two of us. And then you went to Voices for Climate Action. So yeah, Voices for Climate Action is a program that we have been dreaming about for some time. It's a conscious marketing movement together with Circles of Impact run by Claude, and also Evolving Cycles by Tina Limberis. So it's been so wonderful to meet people both in Austria, like Caitlyn, but also in Greece. So we run two exact same training programs in two different locations. And now we are going to continue and meet up online. And we really want to amplify women's voices in climate, because there's just not enough podcasts run by women. And so I'm so happy for both you, Angelica, and Caitlyn, that you're running this podcast for a little while now. And now you have the chance to even improve it with new tools and new ways of working. So yeah, congratulations, ladies.
Thank you. And thank you. Yeah, I love the shout out to Maya. Thank you, Maya. And it probably would be remiss of us, Angelica, if we didn't say a little shout out to Saeed, who couldn't be here today. Saeed Fadel is our third co-host, and he is enjoying life back in Morocco at the moment. He has a family wedding, so he's taking some much needed family time at the moment. So hi, Saeed.
Hi, Saeed. We miss you.
And we miss you. So the one thing that stuck with me at the VOCA training, just before we get stuck into things, was the stat about, you mentioned, there's not enough podcasts by women, but what is the stat that you are throwing around?
Yes, absolutely. So basically, only 29% of podcast creators are women. And this is according to Edison research. So it's really not a lot. But actually, we do have, I remember seeing in Edison research as well, I don't have it quite in front of me right now, but I remember seeing that women and men both listen to podcasts equally, but there are only 29% of women who are creators. So it's really time for women to be heard. There are not enough women creating podcasts out there. So it's amazing that you ladies are kicking this off. And I hope that all the people who participated in the Voices for Climate Action training in their journey start something as well.
Amen to that, sister.
Amen. Yeah.
Well, I think we're ready to get stuck into I'm really interested, Angelica and I are both really interested in hearing more about your background. From what I know of you, you've lived in multiple countries, you've got businesses, and you've worked in the circular economy industry. You have an amazing story. So let's hear it.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me once again. Yeah, so I will try not to take too much time, but I'm originally from Portugal and have lived in the UK, France, Cambodia, Singapore. I'm now based in Germany and I have a business in Estonia, so quite international. I've also traveled to many different places around the world, so I feel very fortunate to have so many diverse experiences that have built me up from, my early years of adulthood, let's say. So since I'm 20, I have not lived in Portugal. I'm now 34 at this point, so it's been quite a long time. So I spent most of my adulthood outside of my own country with lots of different challenges. 2 years ago, so in 2023, I've decided to create a business of my own called Conscious Marketing Movement. So I'm the founder, and it's been a really difficult, challenging journey, but also so rewarding. So I don't want to say that entrepreneurship is like super easy and, we have it all figured out. Not at all. And I've worked a lot also before I was a founder. I worked a lot in marketing and communications. I worked as a researcher. I worked also in F&B and hospitality, and so much more. So I have a really diverse experience, and I think that allowed me to be a founder that has a lot of different perspectives, and that's quite helpful. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, it's not, I think I can relate to your story a lot. I also left the US technically for the last time when I was 23, I think, and haven't been back since. And also an entrepreneur, and it is fun and exciting, and it fills your passion, but it definitely is not an easy journey by any stretch of the imagination.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I left a bit later in life. I think the first time that I traveled, but it was a solo trip, so it was amazing, and was when I was 24. And since then, I have been living in different places in Europe, but it's so amazing, isn't it? Like you could see that you have different perspectives like about the world, and you met different people with different opinions that creates your
Yes.
own opinion about the world in a different way. So that's the cool part.
Absolutely. And so that unites us all, right? The three of us have lived a lot of different experiences in different countries, and that shapes a lot the entrepreneurs or business owners that we are as well. I really like that.
Yeah. For me, the most interesting part is we usually ask or guess what was that a special moment, that eureka moment that makes you think, okay, this is what I want to dedicate a part of my life, at least if it's not my entire life. This is my purpose. But I would say for your topic, which is conscious marketing, it's even deeper, I think, because the fact that you have to think, okay, maybe the way I'm consuming, the way I'm driving myself in this world, it's not the right way to preserve this planet for the next generations.
Yes.
I think it's a bit deeper even. So maybe what was that eureka moment, that aha moment for you that makes you think, maybe I want to work on this in my life?
Yeah, so my moment was quite a difficult one, I would say. So around COVID or a little bit after it, I experienced burnout after working in the marketing industry for quite some time. I was feeling like I was part of the bad guys club and not really the ones who are helping the planet and people and basically bringing purpose. I just felt like all that I do is promoting products and services that people don't really need, and they are being triggered to buy them with the tactics and tricks that I was using. And so I was like, also working 24/7 pretty much, because this industry has a high rate of burnout after sales. So sales, I think it's the top one, and then after sales is marketing. And it's often a profession that is underappreciated. They are the first ones to be laid off, and that's the experience that I also had during COVID and so on, during coronavirus. And so I really felt that I needed a reset at some point. I actually thought of changing to be a project manager and instead working for different projects that were more aligned with my mission and what I wanted to do, because I was always a purpose-driven person. For example, I volunteered in Cambodia for 2 years. I always felt very connected somehow to social issues, and social issues and climate go hand in hand. Obviously, you cannot really separate them. And so, yeah, that was something that always drove me, but I wasn't having the career that would allow me to have this purpose and passion and aligned with what I do daily, let's say. And so, yeah, so I took 6 months off from marketing. And at that point, I thought, yeah, maybe I should be a project manager because I'm organized and I'm good at it. But then I was like, no, I'm actually good at marketing. Why am I quitting? What if I could change the marketing industry instead and rethink it? Like, reimagine how the marketing industry could look like. And so I started to inform myself. I listened to podcasts, I read a bunch of books, and I started to create my own idea of what marketing could look like. And I started to be very vocal on LinkedIn. At the time, I had only 1,000 followers. Now I have 20,000 followers. So I used the LinkedIn as my playground to kind of bring these ideas to the table and see if people resonated with them and so on. And at some point, I was like, yes, this is the right path. I'm feeling it. Like, I feel like I'm living my purpose. And it was kind of in progress, was not something immediate to say, oh, this is what I really wanted to do my whole life, you know. but because I'm very multi-passionate and I like to do lots of different things. But right now I really feel that this is the right thing. This is how I can contribute. And I'm so happy that I'm surrounded by amazing people who feel similarly, who feel that the marketing industry has a big role and we all have to change this. We all have to create a new paradigm together.
Yeah. Wow, I love that so much.
Me
You found your
too.
ikigai.
Yeah, you're
Yes,
finding your
exactly.
ikigai. We were talking about it recently.
Yeah. It's amazing, that journey, right? Again, I can relate a little bit, just kind of trying out things here and there, and just felt like I was sort of drifting. And then it's that moment when it hits you and you sort of awaken and you go, yes, this is what I want to do. It's amazing. It's amazing. I wish that on everyone. One thing I like to ask our guests is, what does sustainability and circularity mean to you?
So, to me, like in a very simple manner, is something that we are not throwing right away in the trash. So basically not using single use and really thinking how can we reuse things. And that brings me to the experience that I had as a professional in Singapore. I worked in a startup that was all about reusable containers, how people could borrow reusable containers for takeaway food. And so they would scan like a QR code and basically borrow that container, put the food on this takeaway container, and then they would go out for their own lunches or whatever it was, and then they could bring it back always to the same spot or to a different spot. So that's why I really believe that we need to continue rethinking circularity, because in fact, in the past, for example, I live in Germany, and during the GDR times here, they used a lot reusables. You know, for example, for creams or whatever it was, they would just have like reusable containers and you would refill it all the time. And now we kind of forgot that because of capitalism and so much more. But we are kind of going back to some of the roots that we had a long time ago, you know? So it's interesting how, you know, we at the end had some solutions in the past and we thought, no, it's actually cooler to use single use and, you know, throw things in the trash, and it's, you know, it's more comfortable and whatever. And so, yeah, I really believe that the mindset was already there in the past. We just need to bring it back to the days of today with all the technology that we have.
Yeah, definitely. And we
Angelica,
have
that's something
also,
we've gone about, isn't it? Like we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just, right?
yeah, Yeah, that's a quote that we have been saying quite a lot in the podcast, and then we think maybe we're saying it too much, but I think it's a key message. Like most of the things that we talk at the beginning of this sustainability journey for the world, it was like, yeah, we have to be innovative, we have to create new things, we have to do this differently, we have to create new technology. But at the end of the day, we have been sustainable our entire history as humanity.
Yes.
The only time we haven't been sustainable, it's let's say 300 years ago since the Industrial Revolution. From there on, we stopped being sustainable. And then those 300 years are the ones that now we measured and we said, maybe we are not doing a good thing for the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's why what you said is key, Claudia. Like we need to just go back before those 300 years, what we were doing to be sustainable. And
Yes.
how did they take advantage of their resources? So, yeah, that's what I think that message is key. It doesn't matter how many times we say it. Sorry to our audience. It's necessary to say
I
it
didn't
again.
know you said it all the time, but I really believe this is key. Like we think that we need to innovate really all the time, but we don't. We just need to rethink our mindset again, because we, at least millennials, which is what you are focusing on, right? We grow up already in a generation post big growth of the economy, and kind of we had a lot of crisis while growing up and so on. And so this also made us stop and think, hey, is this really the path that we want to go? Is this the right direction? So yeah.
So what about the problem? Obviously, we've gotten ourselves into a pickle. We've consumed and consumed and consumed.
Yes.
So you've started a movement, a global movement to combat unethical marketing. And I'm really keen to get into what conscious marketing is, but I think maybe it's good for us to understand what unethical marketing is. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for this question. So, marketing is at the forefront of overconsumption, right? And that makes us at the forefront of climate crisis then. And so basically what we do as marketeers is to trigger impulsive purchases. And we do that in 5 different ways, either through exaggerated claims like, this is the best thing you will ever have in your life, either through fear, such as, don't miss out, either to like fake scarcity, such as, only 2 spots left, or fake urgency, such as, you have 24 hours left to get this, so there's, and then the 5th way is charm pricing, which is the, excuse me, sorry. And then the last one is charm pricing, which is like $9.99, get this, and so on. So all of this are 5 key tactics that marketeers use to just trigger you to buy something. And this is very important that consumers are more aware that this is being done. And so basically when you are purchasing something, you might not realize that you're not doing this intentionally, and that's really problematic because there's so much that we are consuming all the time. So I know at least 3 academic papers that talk about how much people buy like impulsively, and then they regret this when it comes, and afterwards they send it back even. So it becomes a problem because you're buying it and sending it back like constantly. So it's really, really unsustainable and not leading us to anywhere positive when it comes to climate, but also the people, right? Because there are people behind producing those products or services and so on. So what we are trying to do with conscious marketing is really bring intentionality back, allow people to make decisions, instead of being triggered. So we don't want people to have to do impulsive decisions because they are triggered, like the 24 hours left, just you can think of Black Friday, right? Black Friday is the perfect example of all the tactics combined in one space. So what we want is to, we don't want to contribute to overconsumption. We want to create a way of marketing that allows people to buy what they really need. So we want to meet existing needs, not create new needs. So this is also quite important. So we are very much market research based. We want to really talk to our customers and make sure that they need something before we are trying to create new needs, because that's what we are told in the marketing industry. And then basically, work within planet boundaries at the end of the day, because we can't really continue this way of life. We need to think of ways to live that allow us to be more aligned with our purpose, with nature, with others, and not make consumption at the forefront of our life. And I can talk more about what conscious marketing means, but I would love to hear if this resonates with you, Angelica and Caitlyn.
Now that you were talking, I was thinking about something key that you said, and it's like you try to sell because the companies or the corporations, they need to sell, right? So that's why they hire people to sell their product. And that's the way they measure success for most of the companies in the world. But maybe what I was thinking is like, and this is not something I think, like this is something that now in the world of sustainability, we're all rethinking and how are we going to do about this?
Yes.
Because basically what we need to change is the way we measure what is a successful company. Because so far, a successful company, and you can see it everywhere, like you are a marketer, of course, you know way much more than me about this. But every time that you see like, okay, this company is doing great, any company, it's because they are selling insane amount of products, right?
Exactly.
And that shouldn't be like that. Like if a company is selling too many products, that the only, or if that's the only way that we measure success, the only thing that we are doing is like creating companies and people that is only driven to more and more and more production. That's not what we need. We need to measure success in a different way, basically, when it comes to sustainability, when it comes to program obsolescence. And that's exactly why the companies are just reducing the life of their product more and more every time, because they need to sell more. So the fact that you are having products that last longer is not convenient for them, but it's extremely bad for nature and the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what Caitlyn thinks about it, but that's more or less what what I was thinking, what you mentioned about the marketing and how we approach it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good old planned obsolescence. That's the term for it. Planned obsolescence. So they make something that's designed to break. I mean, anyone on the planet who's bought a phone, it hits the 2-year mark and it's just gone, right? You've got to buy a new one. So that's a good example. But when you were going through, Claudia, those examples, like the 5 unethical marketing tactics, there was a few things that came to my mind that I've kind of become aware of that are practical. So the first thing is I think it's called anchor marketing, where like if you go to a shop, they'll put like as soon as you walk into a shop, they'll put the very expensive pieces there, and you look at it and go, "Ooh, this is cute. Oh, whoa, this is way out of my price range." But then you walk towards the back of the shop and you find something very similar, but it's a little bit more, it's more cheap. So you've already been kind of sticker shocked. So anything less than that is going to be less confronting to you. So the psychology that's involved in marketing is wild. And I do mean wild.
Yeah.
Another thing that I thought of was, well, of course, there's the candy bars that are at the checkout when it's definitely not something that you need, but it's a trigger and you go, oh yeah, sure, I deserve a sweet treat. But also the levels of the grocery store, like brands pay a premium to be at eye level. So it's just, it's a whole crazy world. So I think I would love to go a little bit deeper into, you touched on it a little bit, but maybe a bit more of a summary about what exactly conscious marketing is and what it is in practice. It's obviously a 180 from what we're currently doing. Yeah, what is it? It's a different approach. What does it look like?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Caitlyn. I also wanted to quickly reflect that marketing has the ability to change behavior. And that's the key thing. And that's what you are talking about, like it really makes us go and buy something and change our behavior. So that's so important when it comes to sustainability as well. So marketing can really help sustainable products or even circularity to grow if we do it right. So I wanted to give you our definition of conscious marketing, because I think it's quite important to give you our definition, because I'm sure there are many people out there that think about conscious marketing differently. So for us, conscious marketing is a long-term strategy that cares for both people and the planet. So here there's a difference between the current marketing, which is very short-term focused on the short-term wins, just like Angelica was talking about how we measure success. So here we have a long-term strategy. And so instead of triggering impulsive buying, we help people decide what they truly need, and that leads to happier customers, positive word of mouth, and profit. So we are not the anti-profit movement. And so we are aligned with the SDG 12, which is all about promoting responsible consumption and production. And so what this means in practice is basically that we are shifting from manipulation to education, and that's very important for us. So manipulating someone is influencing someone for your benefit without their consent, and educating someone is influencing someone for their benefit with their consent. So there's a big shift on the mindset of conscious marketing. And of course, we talk very deeply about this in our podcast, in our online community, in our trainings, and so on. But I think this gives you the idea of the mindset that we are trying to create within the marketing industry.
That's so interesting. I never thought about it, especially the first quote you said, like marketing has the ability to change behavior. That was so good. And also what you said at the end, that manipulation and influence is a completely different thing. It sounds obvious, but it looks like on the way to sale, we just lose that mentality and we just focus on manipulation instead of pure influence, and focus on what people really needs and on what people should prioritize based on what makes them truly happy, like long-term happiness and well-being, and not just like short-term satisfaction, which I guess is like key for marketing. Like, what are you going to target?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a clear link between conscious marketing and sustainability. We always say on this podcast, circularity is the tool, and sustainability is the goal. And circularity is the opposite approach to our current linear take, make, waste model, which is a product of unethical marketing. So there's clearly a link between employing the conscious marketing movement tactics and addressing, promoting circular economy and, trying to achieve sustainability. So it's definitely all linked. So how do we shift?
Yes, absolutely. So right now we have different approaches to reach these marketeers and to build conscious marketing, because of course it's still a work in progress. I haven't figured out the whole marketing solution. I wish I had. That would be amazing. But what we are doing right now is first educating marketeers through the online podcast and through through the podcast and our online community. We have the training programs, and we have a marketing agency, which we like to call marketing studio, because we are kind of like in a laboratory, right? We are doing marketing campaigns for our clients, but at the same time, we are experimenting a lot. And it goes back to what Angelica said of how do we measure success when we work in conscious marketing? Do we just do the performance metrics? No, we want to go beyond that. And so right now, the marketing studio, so this marketing agency that we are running, it's where we are really exploring these ways and case studies, and even Voices for Climate Action for us is a case study. Because all the marketing that we've done around this program co-funded by the European Union was based on our conscious marketing approach. So, for example, we had a lot of collaborations, partnerships, like Freelancing for Good, for example, was promoting our program. We had a lot of LinkedIn posts, we had the website, we had blogs, we participated in podcasts, and we really can see that conscious marketing works. We had, over 60 plus applications for this program. Maybe we didn't have 1,000, but the question is also, do we need 1,000 applications when we just have 16 spots in Austria and 16 spots in Greece? Like, do we really need that big overconsumption mindset of having 1,000 applications? No, we needed to have those people who really wanted to join us, and so we matched, let's say, the key performance metric, which was having these participants coming, and we needed 16 people in each cohort, and it was in total 60 applications, and that's fine, and that works, right? Like we just need to shift our mindsets around growth and like this key performance metrics being like super big. Do we really need them, or are we just showing off for our own egos, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. No, that I was thinking that what you said, Claudia, is key. And the ego is also like a topic that we touch quite also here in the podcast, because it's one of the things that make us consume, like, what do I want to show off to the world that I am? But also a book that I read some years ago, but it's still something that sticks to my mind, that is called The Last Lecture, right? When they mention about like some exercise that they do for some university teachers, and they told them, what would you teach to your students if this will be the last lesson that you will give in your entire life? And then just to see what are your priorities when it comes to the legacy you want to spread to your students and you want to leave to your students. So I think when it comes to the mentality that we should have for consumption to decide and prioritize our needs, for me, it's also like key, because it's not the same when you prioritize just short-term vision about what you like and what you desire, but when you prioritize the things that are really important in life, I guess.
Absolutely.
So maybe one day we should do the exercise. Imagine that this is your last podcast. What would you say, Claudia?
I
Just
love it.
think about.
I will think about this for the end.
Okay.
I want to find something because I want your live reaction on this.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Claudia, I'm really keen to look at some examples of, I mean, most things we already covered what unconscious, unethical marketing is. Most things, most advertisements that we see and come across are unethical advertising or using those tactics.
Yes.
But I'm curious about some of the ads that are conscious or Claudia approved.
Okay, let's see this then.
And I'll let you describe what it is. And yeah.
Oh, I've seen this one. I've seen this one just now. So yes, I can describe it. So I believe it's a Danish campaign that has 3 good-looking men, basically half naked, just in their shorts, in their underwear. And the campaign says, "Dear world leaders, for once we urge you to think about your dicks. Your fertility is at stake. Plastic change." So the campaign is all about explaining that basically penises have plastics, like microplastics, and so they are trying to bring awareness to this issue so that really like men kind of participate in the conversation of changing what's been happening in the world. I think this is quite a funny campaign. I honestly like it. I think it's a good way to bring attention to the issue, and it's aimed for a different audience as well. So we are very used to sustainability campaigns being focused on women, because women, if you look at the percentage of women that work in sustainability kind of roles, is much higher than men, or women are in general more concerned with the future of their children or of others and so on. And so we can see that a lot of the campaigns that are run around sustainability are very much focused on a women audience. So I think this is a good campaign to bring men into the picture. And I think it's a good way of activism, and it's funny. And so conscious marketing doesn't need to be serious, although we are doing educational campaigns, it doesn't mean that it's serious all the time. We have our voice, we have our tone, and that's important. So thank you for bringing this campaign, Caitlyn. I do like it. I think it's a fun one. and a good way to bring humor into a very serious issue. Imagine, a man's penis has microplastic. That's crazy, right? It's quite shocking, actually. They put it very lightly, but it's not funny at all,
Yeah.
So I think other campaigns that I really like are, for example, Ecosia. I think Ecosia has a really funny recent campaign called, let me see what's the name, Climate Action That Actually Fits Your Life. I think is a very interesting one. Also plays around humor. Like, of course, it simplifies the issue as well, just like, this campaign also simplified an issue that is very serious. But I think it's a great way to bring awareness and a form of activism. So the way that we sell products and services can change behavior, like I was saying, and can be a way to change the society, right? We really underestimate how much we are exposed to campaigns nonstop, whether it's on our phones, whether it's on, billboards or whatsoever. Everywhere we go, there's marketing. We really underestimate the power that it has, that shapes our perceptions, our culture, and so much more. So yeah, of course, I could mention a lot of different campaigns. I also love Too Good To Go. Look, Smell, Taste is also a very cool campaign around educating people on not throwing away right away something that it's out of date. So I really like this campaign.
Yeah, I think me too.
Yeah, I love that. Maybe this is a hard question, but are there any examples of conscious marketing that, because a lot of this conscious marketing are by more conscious and ethical brands or organizations. Is there anything jump to your mind about conscious marketing being used by potentially unethical companies or products, or is that just an oxymoron?
Well, I mean, we are working on conscious marketing for purpose-driven brands, and we don't want conscious marketing to be used for evil, let's say. So, for example, we are not going to support oil companies and so on, and we are really working with small businesses and with nonprofits that are already part of the solution. So that's how we are positioned. I don't know if in the future is going to be used for evil. I hope not, and I want to believe that this is progress over perfection. Conscious marketing is not perfect, and it's not saying that the company has it all figured out. And we have to acknowledge that we still live within a system, but if we can at least solve some things, I think it's already some progress. So, for example, Caitlyn, we talked about this campaign at Voices for Climate Action from Bodyform, which is a campaign about periods and, kind of breaking free from the taboos that we have around periods. And it's a very, very interesting campaign in an activism point of view. But we also know that period products that are single use are not good for us. So, I really need to juggle a little bit all of this system. How can we have good examples of conscious marketing, but also have very good ethical products? It's not always possible to combine everything at once, and it's a progress. And hopefully in the future we can have all figured out, but I also don't want marketeers to feel paralyzed that they cannot be part of the solution at all. If the company is already doing some efforts to be sustainable, to make a difference in society and so on, I want to give them some credit, as long as they are not greenwashing or purpose washing, which is basically saying that they do some things that they don't really do, So yeah. Angelica, tell us more.
No, I was just thinking that you just read my mind, because I was about to ask you a question about greenwashing. So now, as a marketer and expert on marketing and how to show different things and make people connect with products and services, what do you think about greenwashing, and how do you approach it with your customers? Because as we know, like some companies, they did it on purpose. They knew what they were doing. They knew that they were misleading the attention of the people to look sustainable when they were not. But some companies, they did it in a more innocent way. Like they didn't know they were misleading the way of sustainability. So as an expert on marketing, what would you say to companies and on how to avoid this misdirection when it comes to sustainability?
I think it's very important to have a PR crisis in place as well, because even in any campaign, sometimes you have good ideas that are perceived by the rest of the world differently. And that's why it goes back to the idea of market research and really talking to your customers instead of making assumptions. But when it comes to greenwashing, so in Europe, in the European Union particularly, we have the Green Claims Directive. So this has become a legal battle as well, and something that we have to comply with. Small and medium-sized companies are still not within the Green Claims Directive fully, if I'm not mistaken yet. So it's mostly for the big corporations that have really to comply with every single part of this. But I believe that small and medium-sized businesses should inform themselves more and more to make sure that they are not misleading their customers. And I also think marketeers have a big role to say, no, it's not always possible, because you have people above you who want you to do things in a certain manner so that the company looks good. But I also think if marketeers can, they have the responsibility to ask questions when they don't understand what they are doing. Because I studied marketing, I studied business administration and marketing, and I don't know enough about sustainability. I wish that there was a whole model on sustainability for marketeers to really learn what are they actually saying, because I feel for the marketeers as well, because, we are just told to do something. And then at the end of the day, we might not even realize that we are either breaking some rules or, greenwashing and so on. So there's a lot of education that needs to be done around businesses, around marketing departments. And at the same time, like I want to go into the progress over perfection. I really believe that, companies that are ethical are trying to make efforts to follow the Green Claims Directive and to not mislead people into something that they are not actually doing. I can't say general for all, but I want to believe that most companies are. And then, we have oil companies and so on that are really just greenwashing. And we all know it, who are we talking about here? And so, we really need to distinguish about like a company that is trying their best really to be sustainable and might make mistakes, and a company that is not trying their best at all, that their product and service is part of the problem, and then they are just kind of like making it pop as something nice. So that's how I try to differentiate greenwashing a little bit. And there are very different shades of greenwashing. I mean, we won't have enough time to go into all of this, but it's super interesting to understand that there's not just greenwashing, there's greenhushing, there's lots of different things. And we talk about this also inside the online community because it's important to understand that the problem is quite big for the marketing industry.
Yeah. Would you say this is maybe the biggest challenge that you faced so far in trying to make an impact with the conscious marketing movement?
Yes, because also even the European Union hasn't all figured out themselves what it means, to to greenwash and not. And, it's something that it's also being updated constantly, and it's hard to keep up with the latest updates and so on. So, it's still a very volatile thing. So it's hard to be on top of it for sure. But for us, it's not just about greenwashing, it's about the ethics around marketing, and how marketing is done. So we tend to have this very over focus on the greenwashing side and so on, but we also have to think, like, go back and remember that the big problem is really the ethics around marketing, the 999s, the overconsumption, all of this. If this is not tackled, I think this is the first step to tackle, and then we get into the greenwashing part, because the mindset needs to be there for us to tackle other problems. So I'm trying with our movement, together with my team, of course, we're trying to take things step by step, because marketing is such a big industry, and it's just not possible to tackle all at at once.
Yeah. That taking one step at a time is good advice for anything that you want to try and accomplish, right? I think when people first start in their sustainability, you get frozen because you don't know where to start. You want to do everything
Yeah.
perfectly, but what's the quote? We don't need everyone doing everything, or some people doing everything perfect. We need everyone doing something imperfect. Just a
Yes.
little thing, and then you can grow from there. So yeah, I really like that response.
I really like that quote, Caitlin.
Yeah, thank you. I'll find it. Oh, I hate not assigning credit where credit is due. I'll try and find it and put it in the show note.
No, but it's part of your wisdom. I think it's valid.
Yeah, I'll take credit. No, better not.
Yeah.
Now, Claudia, each guest episode, so every time we have someone on, they leave a question for the next guest. So I would like to ask you the question of our last guest. We had Fernanda Dramont, who is she's from the H&M Foundation, and she asks you to close your eyes and imagine what life would look like at the end of this century. So 75 years, what does life look like?
Wow. That's hard. We will not be alive by then anymore.
Do we do?
A bit of a doom and gloom vision you're seeing.
Well, no, I'm hoping that we live more, like, if I think about it, like, more deeply and in a positive note, I would think that we are living more with nature again. And I know that we already talked about this, but I would imagine us going more back to how we were before the Industrial Revolution, and really having more like small businesses around, more like family-owned businesses, and living more in villages and not so much in big cities. And I really believe that we could relearn again how to live as a society. And I hope that in the next in the next what was it 75 years we have at least achieved part of that. I think that would be really beautiful. I'm hoping for that, and that's what I try to do with my work. How can we reconnect with our higher purpose of being aligned with nature and being attuned with each other? Because technology is amazing, but it also made us more disconnected in some ways. Like maybe you're on your phone when you are with your friends instead of being present, and so on. And I know that, it's so addictive in general, technology, and and it goes back to marketing as the problem as well. But yeah, I'm hoping that in the future we go back to our roots.
I think this is such a nice exercise to visualize. I think we spoke about this, I think, in our last episode as well, about we need to be able to visualize what we want to be able to work towards it.
Mm-hmm.
And my first, for me personally, I also go, ooh, will we be around? But then that's kind of my first reaction. And then it goes to, no, we got this. We can come together. There's still hope. There's lots of people doing amazing work. And yeah, so hopefully that vision comes through. What about you, Angelica? What are you envisioning?
I will say, and talking about ads, Claudia, there is an ad that became super viral of like a Japanese yogurt, I think, which is called Chobani. And the ad is called Dear Alice, which shows, it's just 1 minute ad. And it's a video of a perfect world where small communities, technology, and humans cohabit in the most harmonic and perfect way. And it became super viral because people start saying, this is the word Tesla envisioned for us. Nikola Tesla, the one that invented electricity, or at least in a way that we can distribute it easily. And he said his dream was always to have this kind of world where electricity and energy was unlimited for everyone, so everyone can be happy and have their basic needs covered, until some companies here and there decided to charge for that. So, but before, that was the world that Tesla envisioned, a world where technology, unlimited energy, and humans cohabited in a very nice way. So if you ask me for the perfect world in 75 years, I will definitely see the Dear Alice ad, and it's made by the Studio Ghibli, Ashley. So the
I
art,
love it.
me too. So yeah, you should watch it. It's super amazing. So yeah, that's the word in 75 year, an utopia where we can live together in a nice way.
Yes, I hope I'm part of that world. I love that, Angelica. I have to check out that ad. Looks really nice.
Yeah, we'll send that here, Ashley, the link. What about you,
Yeah,
Caitlin?
we'll all live in a Chobani utopia yogurt world. I like it. Oh God. Well, Claudia, it's your turn. Can you give us one question? Can be anything fun, serious, whatever that we can ask our next guest.
I was thinking about what was their dream job, when they were little, and what are they doing now, and how do we kind of like fulfill that inner child within us. I think it would be super interesting to ask that.
I love this. I love this so much. My first dream job was to be a roller derby girl. I progressed from there, got a little bit more academic from there, archaeologist, but marine biologist. But I'm curious, what's yours, Claudia? What was yours?
Oh, I wanted to work in animals conservation as a kid.
Oh,
yeah.
Love that. What about you, Angelica?
Astronomer or like astronaut.
Of course. Surely it's still a dream job.
Yeah.
Amazing.
No, a bit far away, but it's not that bad. Now when I'm an environmental engineer, I'm trying to save the planet. If not, then we can go to Mars.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Claudia, we have quite a wide array of listeners and are just coming across sustainability and just wanting to know everything about it. And some are, already working in that space. Is there some sort of, I guess, an actionable nugget that our listeners, both novice or experienced, can go away with today and put into place in their own home or their community or work?
Yeah, thank you for that. I think my work is around marketing. So I would love you to think that marketing is part of the solution. And when you approach marketeers within either your company or, within your small organization, either as a communication person and so on, remember that they have a very important power to change our society and not just ask them to just sell. Ask them to be creative. Ask them how can they think deeper about this, not just push another product and service. And if you are the marketeer yourself, I invite you to be part of the work that we are doing, because we would love to have your creativity part of the solution.
Yes, for sure.
That was beautiful.
For sure. What about any book or resource?
So many. So in our online community, we have over 200 resources that support conscious marketing if you want to join our online community. But just one book that I would recommend to start with is a book by Caroline Tate, who is Australian, Caitlyn. And her book is called Conscious Marketing. And that's what inspired me first to call this movement Conscious Marketing. This book is already, from some time ago, because it's from 2014, and the marketing industry has developed a lot ever since 2014. It's, a big difference, but still it has a lot of the mindset that inspired me to create this new way of doing marketing. So her book was really the foundation. So I invite anyone to check out Conscious Marketing by Caroline Tate.
Yeah, amazing. We'll definitely link that in the show notes. That sounds like a really great place for people to start.
Yeah,
and last but not least, Claudia, where can our listeners find you?
Well, we have our website, Conscious Marketing Movement. We have, of course, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can connect also with my co-founder, Daiva Dominica, who is also on LinkedIn. But yeah, mostly just check out our website and see all the free ways to get started, such as listening to our podcast and so on. And check out our co-funded by the European Union projects, for example, Voices for Climate Action. But also there's a new one coming in September. Ooh, that is going to be revealed soon.
Exciting.
Yes.
Exciting.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Claudia. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast today. We'll definitely share those resources for anyone who is interested and send them your way for anything related to conscious marketing.
Thank you. And
Absolutely.
thank you for the amazing work you do, ladies. Angelica, Caitlyn, and also Sadie. That's right?
Saeed.
Yes.
Saeed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yes.
Claudia.
Thanks, Claudia. See
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, that is a wrap on episode 11 of Millennials Gone Circular. We hope this conversation with Claudia gave you a new lens on what marketing could be and what it shouldn't be. It can be used for good. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow, share it with a fellow changemaker, or leave us a review. It really helps us reach more people ready to make circularity a reality. But before we go, Millennials Gone Circular is a production of The Waste Not Spot. The Waste Not Spot recognizes the many traditional landowners around the world and their continued stewardship of our planet. We pay our respects and offer our deepest gratitude. Until next time.